Hello, first for disclaimers. Disclaimer being, one, I realize this is a very poor quality video, and two, I don't care. And three, comments trying to make me care will be deleted because I simply care that little. And it annoys me when people try to make me care about something I don't. This video is to discuss a talking point of the right regarding a not discussed enough uh, talking point that any sixth grader who basically puts more than 2 seconds of thought into something that's not an NPC can figure out, which is essentially gun-free zones. Gun-free zones are essentially a thing where if a person walks into a campus and they don't follow the law, which is to say you can't have a gun here, and get caught, a cop can be informed, security can be informed, and they can be stripped of their weapon and or expelled and penalized for it, and according to their policies. The gun having no gun free zones, we understand the whole, like criminals don't follow law kind of thing, but you forget on the right, you small people, law abiding citizens are criminals are law abiding citizens until they commit a crime. Or for some people in their philosophies, some people are law abiding citizens until they get caught. So, this whole concept of trying to separate the breeds, in a sense, by imposing this narrative that, like, only, like, what they basically try to say that the long term goal and narrative they're pushing is trying to impose a narrative that only whites are good and blacks commit crimes and Hispanics commit crimes and such. They think whites don't commit crimes, so they're trying to separate whites and blacks into their own separate communities and essentially taking away people's right to association and move and freedom to move about as they please. Just because they're racist fuckers and they deserve to be all put in jail for discrimination, and people who teach them to become this way and people who propagate this hate culture should also be jailed for spreading terrorism and inciting terror. So the way I see it is, if the way a basic understanding of it is that if a person sees another person with a gun who's about to commit a mass shooting, or maybe somebody just wants to bring it because they're afraid the school bully's going to hit them, and then they're going to end up shooting people if the bully even brushes by them, because yeah, bullies happen, and people like to defend themselves against bullies. Shooting a bully in the foot would be an opportunity to, stop that bully from hurting you. At the same time, it would also scare a lot of people. It also might cause a person to, miss and hit other people. So, and I understand the whole, like, people need to have the right to freedom and be able to protect themselves. I just gave you an example of a person protecting themselves with a gun instead of having, like, a teacher do it where they can de-escalate the situation, punish a person in a more controlled fashion, like maybe tell a person's parents, or maybe discipline them with expulsion or detention or so on and so forth. No, you guys want to have kids use guns to defend themselves from bullies. We know what you're about. You want more deaths in schools. Okay, but yeah. So essentially, the whole narrative of putting guns in schools is basically they want the American school system to become a war zone, and they keep saying like, oh, more guns means a polite society. I have to say, no, it doesn't, because you listen to these right wingers talk about, like, other people committing crimes. They basically promote violence upon other minorities just for being a minority. So the whole concept of, more guns being a polite society is absolutely fucking ridiculous, because the people on their side of the bridge are going to be like, hey, there's a minority in my class. He's going to do bad. He is a bad because he's a minority. We got to shoot this person because we got to defend ourselves against the invasion of immigrants. So I'm sorry to say, no. You people are terrorists and deserve to all be put in prison. Uh, Also, people who teach their children to become this deserve to be put in prison for trying to teach their kids to become child soldiers. I understand the whole, you guys are just so easy to turn this into like an African war zone thing, which is hilarious because you guys are worse than the people you claim other people are bad for. And I also understand like the whole militia talking point. We gotta be able to defend ourselves from the government. I would love to see you guys win against the government in any capability, because when it comes to war games, it's all like going we agree to a certain thing. But when it comes to a real life scenario, if you guys raise a gun against an officer or against a person of authority, you're gonna get your ass put in jail or shot. I'm sorry, dude. You try raising your gun against a public official, they're gonna arrest your ass and put you in jail, take away your gun rights, and the first thing you'll be seeing is somebody calling you Shirley when you every time you drop the soap. But yeah, that's my point. The whole no gun zones being soft targets bullshit is absolute fucking bullshit. Because when you guys want to allow more guns in schools, you are literally making it a soft target. Because you are making it permissible for these people to bring guns into a school, making it impossible for people like legal authority figures to stop them. And I'm sorry to say that, but yeah. That's a little short video I wanted to do to discuss the whole talking point. Also, a side note, because I know these Republicans like to pivot, fuck, I can't think of a word. Ah, Paris wheel, maybe? I'll have to think on that little, thing later. But, I have to think on a witty remark later. But, media, stop being such a little pussy. Please. Damn it. Trump administration was found that they lied about creating 500,000 jobs last year. That means that you take the report of last year's job creation numbers and you minus 500,000 from that. On top of that, fuel prices through the roof. And on top of that, like jobs, I get we have a lot of jobs and such. I also understand that the war on immigration has led to lazy Americans not filling the positions. So we have a large amount of jobs available, nobody filling them, which means no workforce. You guys have the Trump administration literally kneecap the American ability to grow economically. And more than just that, way. But yeah. Also, I talked about a Trumpistani at a festival, and yes, I do say Trumpistani. People have different ways of referring to them. But, Trumpistanis, this guy says that, Mexico is paying for the wall in indirectly through tariffs and the NAFTA deal. One, no tariffs on Mexico. None. That goes to say just how much of a Trump cocksucker this guy was. I understand, like, he gagged a little bit on that because he retracted almost immediately. That's like a little gag reflex. Okay, I get that. At the same time, though, you get these people like they're like, oh, the new NAFTA deal. What NAFTA deal? Nothing was voted on. Congress didn't approve anything. You still have that so-called horrible NAFTA deal in place that Bill or the other administrations had. And all you guys got is some Trump cocksuckers just, drinking it up, drinking it up. I'm sorry to say, people are fucking desperate, man. And I know about the whole right-wing terrorism becoming more of a problem. That's because the more they become ostracized by basic, I don't know, common sense, the more hilariously hostile they become because they feel like they're being oppressed. Which they are being oppressed. I don't disagree with that. But the whole point of their oppression is that they are criminals. And I've outlined like 4 ways in just like the first 10 minutes of like how these people are fucking criminals. And it's like you guys bitch about how you're being oppressed You guys are worse than a fucking gangster mob, like Jeffrey Epstein, career fucking sex trafficker, and you guys bitch about MS-13 gangs and fucking Mexicans. Well, you got a fucking guy in the White House who's friends with 3 confirmed sex traffickers. And they're all white. You guys are just fucking awesome. You're so fucking desperate. I'm sorry. I can't. I can't. You guys think that he's making you great? Oh, I gotta control it because I gotta keep this short. But you guys think he's making you great again? It's fucking great. Oh, this rant. That's gonna be a joke that I will never stop laughing to. At the same time, like, you guys are like, oh, this guy was killed because of Hillary's death squads, and I'm like, dude, no pedophile lives a day in the justice system. Felons, gangsters, the works, they all want a piece of that ass. Everybody sees those kind of people like a target. You could not be a bigger target. And you guys think Hillary's death squads did it because you are just so painfully pathetic and desperate to justify your Trump cultism. It's like, you guys say, like, hey, would Hillary be any better? It's like, damn straight Hillary would be better. I don't see her getting a cult of fucking radical domestic terrorists following her. Damn, I don't see her bending over for Putin. It's like, or selling out America. I'm sorry, I'm getting off track, but still. The whole gun thing, like, you guys militias and whatnot, you think that you can contend with the government. You think that putting more guns, like we're in a fucking war zone because that's what you want in the U.S. Everyone to be afraid of everything because that's the life you live, and you're just so scared. I would feel sorry for you because your life is such I want to say I can't remember the name of the circle of hell in which revolves around wrath and war, but like, you guys are such losers and bloodthirsty maniacs, and like, stop trying to impose your little pussy fear mongering and paranoia onto the kids and citizens of the US. Okay? Stop being a domestic terrorism. And yes, I'm going to emphasize a domestic terrorism thing. Um, Using violence, fear, hostilities, death, the works, bombs, whatnot, to engage in forceful political change. Uh, yeah, you guys are terrorists in every imaginable way. If you guys say, like, oh, law and order and all that shit, I'm gonna have to remind you guys once again that if you guys talk to me about how you want to keep your guns to fight against a tyrannical government, I'm gonna remind you that a tyrannical government is basically a government with laws you don't like, and that if you disobey those laws, you are a terrorist. You are the people fighting against the very bad hombres you claim to want to protect this nation from or whatnot. You are the bad people with the gun. Okay. And honestly, like, people are like, oh, we have the right to have guns and all that shit. Yeah, you have the right to have guns. I have the right to own a semi truck. That doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to spend years of my paycheck on it. I have the right to own a fucking supercomputer or a quantum grade computer. That doesn't necessarily mean I'm gonna invest a fucking maintenance. I have better things to waste my money on, like trying to fix up the house. I'm trying to get rid of some trees, install some solar panels. It's like, I'm trying to improve on my life, not validate or be ready for some imaginary conflict because you guys can't get out of your own fucking nightmares. And it's like, stop trying to teach our kids to live in your hell. That's your hell. You suffer in it. That's not our hell. Stop trying to bring us to your hell. Okay? Thank you. Brought to you by. I figured maybe I might close. I might start a whole official thing. I might, if anybody is listening to the artist, hit me up on the comment section. And if you have any critiques or comments, let me know on the thing. So yeah, have fun.